So Kuro dropped Phrolova's drip marketing, which mostly indicates that she will be added onto the character roster in version 2.5, since we're currently in version 2.4. Along with her splendid character design, we have additional information about her weapon type, which is the Rectifier, and the attribute, which is Havoc, that she belongs to. These are crucial information that can help us theorize her potential role in your team building, kit design, synergies with existing Sonata effects, and synergies with existing characters as well, to help you get an idea of what you should expect in case you want to pull for her in the future. Keep in mind that every information provided in this video is purely based on speculation, using what we have in the game at the moment and her official drip marketing information, so take everything with a grain of salt. Let's begin with her character archetype and her role in your team building. To provide a bit of clarity before we proceed, in case you're not familiar with what I mean by archetype, it simply means a particular class that a character falls into, which can also help you determine their dedicated role. So in Withering Waves, we have 4 types of archetypes. Main damage dealers offer little to no supportive and buffing capabilities like Carlotta and Cartethia. Sub-DPS buffers' main role in your team building is to provide significant damage boost, mostly through their outro skills like Yanlin, Jeji, and Cantarella, but their damage potential at S0 is nowhere near the DPS thresholds of main damage dealers in the game. Hybrid characters like Brandt, Changli, and Lupa are what you end up with if main damage dealers and sub-DPS buffers had a baby, because they provide a balance between dealing decent damage that is enough to beat any endgame even at S0 as long as you have good investment, and provide buffing and supportive capabilities like Brandt healing, shielding, and damage amplification outro skills. Lastly, we have healing buffers like Verena and Shorekeeper, whose main role in your team building is to provide sustained capabilities to help you survive in combat, like the healing that they provide, and buff all your characters in your team to do more damage. With all that said, what could possibly be Phrolova's archetype to help you determine her role in your team building? Well, my theory is she's a Havoc damage dealer due to Cantarella's presence in the game. Sub-DPS buffers that offer buffing capabilities to main damage dealers are usually released before the arrival of the character that they have complete synergy with. The same thing happened with Jeji's release way back in version 1.2, and Carlotta was also released in version 2.0. You can also see a similar trend with Phoebe, who was released before Zani was introduced in the game. However, do keep in mind that there are some exceptions. For example, Camellia was released before Rocha because we already had Sanhua, who provides basic attack damage amplification to Camellia, and Sanhua is a free character and an easily accessible one that anybody can get their hands on. So why use Cantarella as part of my speculation? Well, she is the only Havoc sub-DPS buffer in the game currently that does not have a perfect pair relationship with another DPS character. And by perfect pair relationship, I mean synergies like Carlotta being able to fully utilize all the damage amplification from Jeji's outro skill due to her glacial damage attribute and resonance skill damage scaling, or how Zhang Liao can also make full use of Yinlin's outro buff due to his electro attribute and resonance liberation damage scaling for most of his damage sources. Hence, the official information of Phrolova belonging to the Havoc attribute after Cantarella's release in version 2.2 lines up perfectly with the fact that Cantarella does not have a complete synergy with any DPS in the game currently, and no, it's not Jinsei, because Jeji does the same job as Cantarella in a Jinsei team composition, aside from the additional benefits such as healing and enemy slowdown effects that Cantarella can provide. So if my theory is true, Phrolova will most likely scale off resonance skill damage, since Cantarella's outro skill also provides 25% resonance skill damage amplification. This will be a game changer for free-to-play because there are quite a few alternatives that you can use in place of Cantarella for resonance skill damage amplification buffs, including Tao Chi and Lumi for 4-star options. For 5-star options, you can use Brandt and Jeji as well. Now that our potential team building is out of the way, let's dive deeper into why I believe that Phrolova herself will most likely have majority of her damage sources considered as coordinated attacks as a main damage dealer. If we go back to the version 2.0 story quest, we can see here that Phrolova had the ability to summon these miniature creatures in large quantities during her fight with Rover, And this actually makes sense with her weapon type being a rectifier, because rectifier units always deal damage to enemies from a distance. Hence, these things that she can summon to hit enemies may be part of her kit design and will most likely be considered as coordinated attack damage due to its similarities with the Inkling Spirits from Jeji and Dreamweavers from Cantarella's coordinated attacks. Phrolova's appearance in version 2.0 story quest was also heavily linked with the appearance of Hecate, which will most likely be her main echo when she's officially released in the game. And guess what Hecate provides to the equipped character? A 40% bonus damage scaling increase to coordinated attacks. If the theory about her perfect pair synergy with Cantarella is accurate, it means that she'll be among the few characters in the game, like Zani, with most of their damage sources having a split scaling, which will be resonance scale damage and coordinated attack damage. Hecate also belongs to the Havoc Eclipse Sonata effect made for Havoc damage dealers, which backs the theory that I made earlier that Phrolova will most likely be a Havoc DPS character. This means that you have two focused echoes at your disposal for the 4-4-1-1-1 echo formation if she can gain Havoc damage bonus from her passives, and you can run Hecate as your main echo if the basic attack damage buff from Nightmare Crownless is useless on Phrolova, or majority of her damage sources scales off coordinated attacks. This also means that building her will not be difficult because you can easily get crit rate and crit damage focus for Hecate using the molded echoes that you obtain from the Hecate weekly boss grind. The last thing we need to consider from a kit design perspective is negative status effects, specifically the Havoc Bane, and chances of Phrolova requiring Havoc Bane to function properly is very low for two reasons. The first one is that we don't have any easily accessible character that can apply them, like Spectral Rover acting as an alternative for Phoebe in a Zani team composition. The second reason is because no premium characters that can apply them were released before the announcement of Phrolova, like Chacona's release before Cartethia. So you can rest easy knowing that Phrolova will not heavily depend on premium units to function properly. For weapons, it's too early to determine what alternatives will be best for Phrolova, but Stringmaster is the only one that I recommend since it buffs attack from the passive based on the instances of damage that is dealt by the wielder's resonance skill damage. So if we take Cantarella for example, her normal skill called Graceful Step does 2 instances of damage, which will instantly proc all the 2 stacks of Stringmaster, giving you 24% attack buff for 5 seconds. This makes Stringmaster quite universal, making it easy to slap on main damage dealers, sub-DPS buffers, and hybrid characters that uses a rectifier. More details about her weapon options will be provided in her weapon pool value analysis video once we get access to new official information, so be sure to look forward to it. That'll be all for my full breakdown of Phrolova's possible role and synergy in Withering Waves. If you found this video helpful, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel so that you can stay updated on her pool value and dedicated guide videos. Be sure to also join our community Discord if you're having any issues with the game or you just want a place to chill or hang out. The link will be in the pinned comment below. Catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.